Hello friends, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, back with another STAMPtember exclusive collaboration. This set is with Clearly Besotted and it's called Sending Sunshine and it is adorable. I just love it. So, like all of the limited edition collaboration sets, this set is one and done. Once it sells out, it will not be restocked. Clearly Besotted has a ton of cute little sets, similar to Mama Elephant in the fact that I collect them. I just can't help it. They have a new release and I'm like, I need to own them all. They're just, I don't know what it is. I love their little critters and the little, just all of it. So I stamped the little scenery image onto a piece of smooth white cardstock with Simon's Intense Black ink. And I also stamped some of the other images from that set onto another piece. And then I am going to color everything in with Copic Markers. I've super sped this up in editing, but it still didn't take that long. I started with the sky portion of this, and I used fairly light colors, and I kind of blended them out. Originally, I was just kind of going to leave it as this and just like blend it out. I was thinking about maybe some ink blending. But then I was like, no. The easiest way for me to kind of fill in the sky a little bit more is just add dots. If you have the patience and the time, you can color the whole thing, color the entire background. I just don't like doing that. But also, this also gives a little more interest because I don't add a whole lot to this card. Just the images are going to be center stage. So adding the dots, it just kind of helps blend out the solid color. And then it also just adds that little extra something. So after I did that, I went in and colored all of the other elements of this scene. We've got these little bits of wheat here. So I colored those kind of golden color and then added some green for the grass. You could do the whole thing in the golden sort of color. I thought about doing that, but then I was like, no, I want a little bit of green in this. I'll just give it a little more color. So did all of that. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow for the sun. And then for all of my little critters, again, just simple coloring. I use some little orange colors for this little cat. And then I'll use browns for the little puppy dog. They're so cute. It's like how people collect little stuffed animals and those sorts of things. It's like, yeah, that's why I collect, Clearly Besotted stamps. That's my way. These take up less space as well. So, win-win. But anywho, colored the little ducky yellow. For the sunflowers themselves, I went more with kind of an orangey yellow color combo just to warm it up a little bit more. So starting with my darkest closest to the center and then just working my way out. Again, just simple coloring, really. So doing 3 color blends for pretty much everything. So same as the background, I am going to add dots to everything, or at least, to the flowers and the flower centers. This is a good way to, if you're not 100% okay with your blending. I was fine with the florals and that, but if your blending isn't the greatest, or if you're just maybe not super happy with the color, but you don't want to redo it, add some dots. It gives it that little extra something. It gives it some extra texture. Every time I do it, I really like it. So that's what I did for the flower centers. I went in with an even darker brown, added some dots, and then decided to add them to the petals. I wasn't going to, but then I was like, ooh, once you start, you can't stop. So added a bunch to all of these petals, just pressing the tip of my Copic marker onto it. The harder you press and the longer you hold, larger the dots. So you just kind of vary your pressure to get all the different little shapes. And then I colored, of course, the stems and whatnot, just the same green combo as I did on the little background. And then while I was doing that, I was like, ooh, if I add this wire 23 to the background as well, it'll just kind of tie everything together. So added a bunch of dots with that. And then I went in with my white gel pen, added just, again, random little highlights, little dots. It just livens everything up and gives it that little extra something. And I did this instead of doing splatter because I was going to do splatter. I thought about it. And then once I started with the white gel pen, I was like, I won't need to add splatter. I'll just use my gel pen to add, you know, all the little dots and whatnot. And that'll give everything that little extra something. So once I was done with all that, I trimmed out my images. The main image here, I just trimmed down with my paper trimmer. And once I was happy with how that was trimmed down, I'm going to matte that with a piece of Simon's Sunshine. Yeah, Sunshine cardstock, just a deep yellow. So I'm going to trim that to be just slightly bigger than this piece. I don't have measurements. Sometimes like people ask for specific measurements. Honestly, if I don't mention them in the video, I couldn't even tell you. Like with all of this, I'm just eyeballing it. So once I have everything trimmed down, my card base is Simon's Sea Glass cardstock. So I've got like, you know, the deep yellow with the sunflowers, and then the Sea Glass cardstock just for a nice little, it kind of goes with the sky background. And this will be a top folding A2 sized card. So I lined up the inside of my card in my MISTI. I was hoping I could stamp this in one pass, like just by shifting the card base, but it didn't work that way. So I lined up that little scenery image along just the bottom of the inside of the card, and I inked that up with Simon's Surf Positively Saturated ink. Cleaned off the stamp, repositioned it because, like I said, I couldn't just move the card base to make that work. So just quickly wipe the stamp off. Going to line that up a second time so I can stamp it so it's just kind of seamless across the bottom of the card here. And then once I've got that stamped, I'm going to stamp the Sending You Sunshine and Smiles sentiment. That I'm just going to stamp with the VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink, and that'll finish off the inside of the card. And then all that's left now is assembling my card front. So I'm going to adhere my little background to that Sunshine cardstock with Craft Tacky Glue. Once that's adhered, I'm going to pop this onto the card itself with Simon's Big Mama foam tape. So it'll give it that little bit of dimension that I love so much. So get those two panels adhered together. I'll coat the back of this with the Big Mama foam tape. Off camera, I had stamped and heat embossed there's a couple little sentiments in the Sending Sunshine set, and I white heat embossed the little hugs word onto some black cardstock. And after I get my little background adhered onto the card, all the little critters and that sentiment I had put thin foam squares behind, so they've got a little bit of dimension as well. And even though these are sunflowers, so they're technically not going to be like floating through the sky, I'm 99% positive Clearly Besotted actually has one with little dandelions that they are meant to be kind of floating. But they've got other ones too where they're almost like little leaves, and like, again, I'll have a link to the Clearly Besotted brand in my blog post. Check it out if you haven't. They're so adorable. So popped everything into place, and that finished off this card. Like I mentioned, this set is limited edition. I will have links to it along with links to everything else I use. You can check that out below the video if you're interested. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping and commenting. Subscribe if you haven't. I very much appreciate it. And I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye.